While we recognise that time and resources may be limited, this film identifies what should happen when practitioners support people to communicate and participate in the court of protection. The Mental Capacity Act 2005 in England and Wales and the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities require that people with disabilities are supported in making decisions that affect their lives. If a decision needs to be made on their behalf, they should be empowered to participate in the process. The aim of this film is to help solicitors and barristers communicate effectively with people with disabilities to enhance their participation in decisions affecting their lives.
My name is Anne. I could be one of the people you are talking to in the Court of Protection.
My name is Sean. I want you to communicate the way I need. It makes all the difference to make sure my voice is heard.
Hello, my name is Bill. Don't just look at my diagnosis or disability because everyone is different and unique.
Great communication is more than just a checklist.
I know you will try your best for me. I feel uncomfortable about all the information you have about me. I don't feel in control. The court makes the biggest decisions in our lives.
Lawyers can make all the difference to how we feel.
So always remember to keep me at the centre of things.
I know you are not taught these special skills, so you will need to practice them.
Next, we're going to watch the lawyers.
My name is Dr. Camelia Kong, and I'm joined by specialist court of protection practitioners, Solicitor Camille Ivinson and Barrister Victoria Butler-Cole QC. In the course of their work in the court of protection, practitioners often meet the person who's the subject of proceedings. We are now going to discuss the types of things that practitioners need to think about and prepare prior to meeting with someone.
So I'm a solicitor. And generally, as a rule, I would always try to meet my client pretty much as soon as I'm instructed. That obviously doesn't work for everyone though. And I think the number one thing in all of these cases is that it needs to be person-centred. And you need to think about whether a meeting with a solicitor would actually help someone at that point. But generally, I try to meet people at the start of the case. And then kind of as and when throughout the case as needed, generally before hearings and after hearings at court. And that's when barristers tend to meet people most.
Yeah, barristers, generally speaking, will only meet the person who the case is about if that person happens to come to a court hearing. And some people will be really keen to come to a court hearing and will want to attend and will be able to. And other people may be terrified by the idea of going to a court hearing and might not want to go at all, or it might not be practical for them to be able to get to the court hearing. So sometimes as a barrister, you might have a hearing and never meet the person who the case is about. Other times they might come to court and you might get to meet them. Because now there's a lot more use of technology, it's also possible that you might only meet someone over a video screen or some sort of internet link and not actually meet them in real life.
So what is the purpose of this meeting and why is it important?
There are lots of different reasons why you'd have a meeting. First and foremost, I think to introduce myself, to give them the chance to be involved in their own court case, answer questions that they have, explain to them or try to explain to them what's going on, because they'll all of a sudden have been dropped into this incredibly bizarre situation where they're being told that a judge is going to be making a decision about their life. I also find it really useful when I'm reading other papers about that person, when I'm reading the evidence that's produced in the court case, to have met them. Sometimes you read something about someone and it says, for example, that they made an aggressive comment. And then once you meet them and you know them, you know that it was definitely a joke. And so you can kind of contextualise things that other people are saying and can try to help the other people involved in the court case to put things into context as well.
Yeah, if you try and imagine asking someone who doesn't know you that well to just describe who you are and put it on a piece of paper, and then give that to someone else and then expect them to know who you are and have a grasp of the sort of person you are, it's really difficult to do. And as lawyers, particularly as barristers, in a court case, we're given a whole load of written documents where people have written down things about someone else. And no matter how well people write and how much effort they put into doing that, you cannot get a sense of what someone is like by reading things that are written about them. You have to meet them, and it's only by meeting someone that you really learn who they are and that you can get to know them and that you can understand them and their perspective.
And I think it's also important, a lot of the time disputes will be about where people live or the care they receive. I think it's important that I see that firsthand and have an idea about what their life is like, because the decisions that the court ends up making for them, they're the ones who have to live with that after that. The proceedings come to an end, all the lawyers disappear, and they're stuck with whatever decision everyone else has made for them. So in a lot of ways, I think it's also just common courtesy to take the time to meet someone and see what their life is like at the moment.
I think also the fact that this is such a peculiar process also reinforces the fact that it is quite an intrusive process. How does meeting an individual kind of make you face the reality of that intrusive process?
Often there's no way to escape how intrusive it is. I will find myself sat in someone's bedroom asking them questions about their life. And a lot of the time people are understandably very upset that it's come to that, and that they're being asked questions and that they're being somehow challenged about what they want or the decisions that they would like to make for themselves. It's very intrusive. On a much more practical sense, I think about where to meet them, and that doesn't always have to be their home or somewhere where they regularly spend time. Whether it would be good to meet them whilst they're doing something. So I have some clients where I will we'll go for a walk together. Or I'll join them when they're volunteering somewhere and we'll do something together so that there's something else rather than just me sat opposite them asking them really difficult questions. When to meet them, when both in terms of when in the context of the court case, but also making sure that you're not disrupting their favourite activity. Some people will have a very set schedule, and it's important that we don't cause undue distress by imposing our own timetable on them.
So I think the timing of things is really important as well, because if you were going to get to know someone who you'd never met before, you wouldn't expect to go and meet them once for half an hour and be able to kind of provide a complete account of that person. And all the more so here, where you might meet someone for the first time and only get as far as figuring out what the best way of communicating with them is, but not get onto any of the things that you actually need to find out in order to tell the judge about them. And so very often in court proceedings, there'll be lots of meetings. I've been involved in cases where someone is able to communicate, but as you say, is not going to be sitting down and giving you, long, paragraphs in answer to your questions, but is perfectly well able to indicate what their feelings are about things. And so the person talking to them might come prepared with symbols that they can use for happy, unhappy, neutral.
And what do you think the impact on the person with disability is when communication is done poorly?
We've said already that these proceedings can be really stressful, really baffling to people. It's just absolutely critical that everyone involved has a sense of how to communicate well and a grasp of all the things that could go wrong and could cause problems and how easy it is to do that. Because, for example, if someone hasn't understood that at a particular hearing the judge is or isn't going to make a particular kind of decision, then the stress about anticipating that decision and it not coming, or being told that things are going to go in a particular way and then they go in a completely different way, or feeling that people are talking about you without you being present, talking about you behind your back. There are just so many ways in which people can feel excluded and confused by the whole process, and also can feel that the professionals aren't really listening to them.
I think it can be really disempowering for people if they feel like they have been so clear about what they want and what's important to them, and then a decision is made and the judge or the other people involved don't take the time to explain to them why that decision's been made, it can feel like the whole process was a sham, and that they never really had a fair chance. So it can be really, really damaging.
And in some ways, some respects, it could reinforce the kind of pre-existing societal discrimination that already exists for many people with impairments of some kind. And also aggravating that intrusiveness, that sense of intrusiveness of this process, coupled with that sense of disempowerment.
It's really hard to imagine how peculiar it must be to be in a courtroom listening to a whole lot of people who you don't know talking about you. And not just talking about you, but talking about the detail of your life and things that happened to you 5 years ago and your medical condition and all of these sorts of things. But we can still always treat the person with the utmost respect and value as part of that process, and not feel that this has become another case, another hearing, a sort of lawyers talking about things, but divorced from the reality of it and the sort of really fundamental aspect of someone's life that is being taken out of their hands.
What do you need to reflect on as a practitioner after you've gone through that meeting and thinking about your communication?
I think we can always reflect on how we communicated, what parts of what we said seemed to make sense, what was too technical, what was too kind of legal speak, how we could do better, whether or not I need to go out and see the person again quite quickly, because I feel that actually I didn't give them enough of an explanation, and that again, going back to that concept of there's no tick box, you can't say, okay, right, I've visited them, I've given them this information, that's done. Also, learning for future cases. I don't think you could ever get to a point where you've kind of had enough meetings that there wouldn't be a lot to learn every time you go out and do that, because even when you've prepared really well, sometimes the way you handle things in meetings won't work, or will be really upsetting, and then that's something you need to think about going forward, about how can you improve, how can you change that.
I certainly have always found it incredibly useful if I've met someone and there's been a family member or a carer with them, which is often the case, because people coming to court, whether they're the subject of the proceedings or not, are usually worried about it, so they often have someone with them. Is just to talk to the person who's with them as well afterwards and say, was there anything I said that I shouldn't have said? Could I have done that better? Have you got any other tips for me about, next time I meet this person at the hearing that, I could do differently? So that you've not only got the sort of direct feedback from the person you were speaking to, but also other people who are better at this than you as a barrister and can actually sort of help you think through the way you've interacted and the way you could do it better.
Thank you, Tor and Camille, for those wonderful insights. In the next section, our experts by experience will talk about what works best for them when they meet with lawyers who might be representing them in the court of protection.
If you were meeting a lawyer for the first time, what information would you want to know before meeting them?
I think to know a bit about them and what they're coming to speak to you about.
Picture would help as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, pictures would really help, because then you know who you're meeting and that.
And maybe a bit of information about what you're expecting for them to ask you.
And if they've spoke to people like us as well before, if they
And it'd be good to know how long they've been a lawyer for as well, so you can trust them.
And maybe see about if you need an extra meeting, to let them know. And not do it all in one meeting.
How would you prefer to receive information about the meeting?
Possibly phone or a pre-meeting, tell you a bit more information and then give you some written information to go for.
Phone's great and all, but I wouldn't remember it unless I had a pen or paper and write it all down.
Yeah, email would be probably good, and then if it's saying about any future meetings would be good as well.
Maybe they give you some information after and what take away from after you had your meeting, or maybe give you a bit of a notes from your meeting.
If I was in a situation where I had no internet or phone, post would be the next best thing.
Yeah, post is good as well, yeah.
And why is post better for you?
Because it's written in there black and white, and if I don't have like the internet, then it's good to get a letter and you can read it and remember it as well, and keep it safe in a folder somewhere so try not to lose it.
How do you think it feels when someone makes a big decision about your life?
I like to be involved in that decision because it's quite, big decision. If it's to do with me, like money or whatever, I need to be involved in that.
Depends on the situation really and what decision it is. But yeah, I would like to speak for myself. I don't want other people making decisions for me because I might not agree with them.
Make sure you get the support to make your own decisions and to maybe help with your own decisions and not let them always make them for you.
Yeah, explain to them that you want to make your own decisions because you might not want to do what you want them to do, what they want you to do.
Would you like to meet the judge?
Yes.
Yeah.
If I get that opportunity, I would like to meet the person. Yes.
I'd like to meet the judge too. Would you, Anne?
Yeah, I would. It'll probably be helpful, depending on what the situation is.
Yeah.
Give him or her the chance to get to know us.
Yeah.
Before going into court.
Yeah, if I've talked to them beforehand, then you know what's going on. Then you can know what you're expecting, so you're not overly nervous. What might put you off the lawyer once you met them?
I think maybe the way they dress. If they haven't checked with you, you would rather they did they come in their casual clothes or their formal clothes. If they turn up in their formal clothes, it might put you off speaking to them.
Yeah, going about how they're dressed. If they're dressed like scruffy, like in tracksuits, that'll probably put me off.
Yeah.
Are you actually a lawyer, or because the way you dress is a bit scruffy?
Yeah, and also the way they talk to us like some people for whatever reason decide that they need to like talk very, very slowly to the point where we're like, come on, we know this, you don't need to talk to us like that.
Or maybe talk to you, what I must say, a piece of talk to you like you're a child or very small, or someone else is with you. They might not always talk directly to you. They might talk to your carer or relative or whatever.
Or talk really fast or really loud, which I definitely know would give me a headache if that happened, trying to process.
It's when someone talks almost down to you is when you are really hate.
Why do you think they're doing that?
They might think you can't understand, or they just don't know how to they might not know how to talk to you.
Or they've probably read what our disability is from somewhere and just thought, okay, we'll speak to you like this and see where we go. Yeah, that's all well and good, but we're all different and our disabilities affect us differently, doesn't it?
Some of us might understand more than others. They should almost see that when they speak to you. They can almost tell you might not be able to understand as well, to make sure they work with you, to make sure you can understand.
And if they're not making eye contact with you, that can be a bit off, particularly I want to communicate with them by looking at them, then you know they're listening to you.
So you might need to lip read them, because some people might not always be able to always understand them, they might lip read them.
Yeah. If you were having difficulty understanding the lawyer, do you think you would be able to let them know? I think I would probably need some encouragement if I had difficulty understanding.
Like I'd need someone to encourage me to really tell them, because you might not want it. Might not always feel straight away up to saying something.
Yeah,
if someone's in the room with you, they can see you might be looking a bit muzzled or...
See, I'm the opposite. I normally tell people that I have trouble understanding things, so I might ask to explain it another way.
Of course, there might be a way for one of us to sort of indicate that we're having difficulty understanding, but the lawyers aren't going to know what that indication would be. So, I don't know, I could use Makaton to say that I'm having difficulty understanding, but the lawyer wouldn't know what I'm saying because I'm just doing hand gestures.
Yeah. I think it sounded a good thing if you have someone there with you, they can see if you're getting a bit almost like upset or not understanding you're getting.
But it would help if the lawyer did sort of ask if we're okay to carry on. So that would then give us an opportunity to say if we need some time to process and a break if we're having trouble understanding.
And always remember to ask for a break.
It's good to ask for a break depending on how long the meeting is.
But then sometimes there are people like us who want a break but don't actually say they want a break.
Cassandra's conversation you could get to you, and you're not always...
Think one thing, do another thing.
How can lawyers explain things the way we can understand?
Using less complicated words.
Yeah, not use words that politicians use, like unprecedented or whatever they say in those.
All these like posh words.
Yeah.
Can't understand the figure there.
Because it might make sense to them, but it won't make sense to us.
What would you think if someone else came to the meeting with the lawyer?
Well, first of all, I'd like some notice that another person's coming, because otherwise I'd be like, so, okay, I'm meeting the lawyer, but who the hell are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you mention it in a letter or in the email beforehand, they'll know what to expect, and it won't be off-putting.
And know who they are beforehand.
Yeah.
But imagine if it was more than two.
Yeah, oh God, yeah.
That would be incredibly overwhelming. Next, we're going to see a role play where a solicitor is going to be meeting someone as part of a court of protection case. The person she is seeing is going to be played by Anne. This is a made-up story, but based on real events.
Katie, the solicitor, is meeting Ali for the first time. Ali has a learning disability. Her case is in the court of protection because there is a dispute about where Ali should live. At this time, she lives at home with her parents, but Ali wants to move out. Ali's parents do not want her to move out. They are concerned about the influence of Ali's friend, Lucy. Some of the ways in which Katie communicates with Ali work very well, others do not. As you watch the role play, key learning points and questions to reflect on will appear on screen. We suggest pausing the video when you see the text and reflecting on how Katie communicated.
Hi, Ali.
Hi, Katie.
Is there anything you want to know about me or why I'm here today? All right. Well, do you think you could tell me a bit about why you want to live in supported housing?
Katie could have started with an introduction, making reference to information sent in advance about herself and the purpose of the meeting. How would you have started this meeting? Katie could then have chosen a neutral conversation topic to get to know Ali and build rapport. Notice the effect here and later in the film when Katie uses an open prompt, "Tell me about," to invite Ali to speak freely.
Yes, I can tell you that. My best friend Lucy lives there, and it's nearer to my day centre.
But do you like living with your mum and dad as well?
Yes, I do. I do like going shopping with my mum, and I like when my dad drives me to places. And I've got a room of my own, and I like spending time with the cat.
Okay, great, thank you. Ali, would it be okay if I asked you a few more questions?
Katie does the right thing by trying to check if it would be all right to ask a few more questions. Ali shrugs her shoulders. How could Katie ask this question in a non-leading, open way?
You seemed a bit nervous. How are you feeling now?
Yes, I am nervous.
Okay, don't worry about anything at all. There's honestly nothing to be nervous about.
Katie notices how Ali is feeling and comments that she seems a bit nervous. What could Katie have said if Ali had shrugged her shoulders again? Katie offers reassurance to Ali. Could Katie have said or done anything else to help put Ali at ease?
I've heard you're really good at drawing.
Yes, I am.
That's brilliant. What sort of things do you like to draw?
Jelly.
As in ice cream and jelly?
No, my cat's called Jelly.
Oh, okay. Oh, what a brilliant name.
Yeah, it is a good name. I came up with it.
Katie builds rapport with Ali by asking her about a hobby she knows she is interested in. If you were in a similar situation, how would you build rapport and trust? Next, we will see Katie ask Ali about her cat, Jelly. Here and later in the conversation, Katie prompts Ali by saying, "Tell me about."
Tell me a bit about Jelly.
Yeah, I've had her since she was a kitten, and I like spending time with her, stroking her, giving her occasional treats, and I like playing with her sometimes.
She sounds like a great cat.
She is.
Are cats allowed at River Court?
No.
How do you feel if you had to live there without Jelly?
Yeah, I would miss her, I would visit her, but I do want to live with my best friend Lucy.
Can you tell me a little bit about Lucy?
Yes, I can. She's my best friend, and I've known her since I was little. We went to school together, and now we go to the same day centre.
That's great. I heard you went to a party at River Court with Lucy recently. How was that?
Oh yeah, that was really good fun.
What sort of things did you do at the party?
Did some makeup, watched the film, had popcorn, and did lots of dance, and I did really enjoy it.
Fantastic. And I heard that you and Lucy went on Facebook as well. Did you talk to some boys on Facebook?
How did Katie signpost the change of topic? Is Katie using open or closed questions or a mixture? What are Katie and Ali communicating non-verbally?
Yes, we did. It was fun.
What was fun about it?
The boys were funny, and I like meeting new people.
Did you give anyone your telephone number?
No, I didn't.
I heard that one of the boys had your telephone number.
Yes, Lucy gave them my number without my permission. She was sorry. I said, these things happen, just don't do it again. But we're still friends.
Okay. That must have been really difficult at the time. What would you do if Lucy gave out your phone number again?
I wouldn't trust them. We won't be friends for anymore.
Okay. I really appreciate you talking to me about this, Ali.
That's okay.
Katie acknowledges Ali's feelings and offered reassurance. Ali was prompted to talk about her interest in drawing. As the conversation flowed, Katie used open prompts such as "tell me" and questions starting with "how" and "what." Katie then used questions to check facts. For example, "I heard, did you?" After an awkward start to the meeting, Katie changed her questioning style, built rapport, showed empathy, established trust, signposted new topics, and gathered important information from Ali.
As a lawyer, you must remember that trust cannot be built on one single day. When someone like me meets a lawyer for the first time, it will be very unfamiliar to me. I could feel stressed, nervous, uncomfortable, or a combination of all of those.
Approaching the person as an individual means that what works for someone might not work for someone else. Does the person that you're meeting have any particular communication needs? How are you going to find out what they are? You're going to need to adapt your approach for the person, and you may need to get specialist advice and input from people who are already involved so that you can make sure that you have the best chance of having the best communication. Planning practical matters in advance helps instill trust and confidence and helps the person that you're meeting feel at ease. For example, plan how you're going to introduce yourself and build rapport before you start the meeting. As our experts by experience showed, this process isn't one way. Imagine that you were meeting a lawyer for the first time to talk about a deeply personal issue. What would you want to know about the lawyer before you met them, and what would be the best way to receive that information?
It would really help me if you carefully listen to me and remain sensitive to my needs. I may need time to process what's been said, so one meeting may not be enough. Also, it would help me if you can relate to me and empathise with my needs. At the end of the day, there may be circumstances where a meeting will not go well. I just need you to do your best.